thanks so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have this chat with you and kind of catch up on what you've been up to over the past several months. I want to bring back to the very beginning of your LSAT prep journey. Do you want to just share a little bit more about where you were before we began working together?
Yeah, of course. I actually, before working with you, I have been studying LSAT for almost a full year. And I have, from the moment I took my first real exam to the moment I get a score I wanted, it took about 16 months in total, if not more. And my score went up from first one was canceled, and then 161, and then 168, and then finally 171. So I really need to say that I've been through a long journey.
Yeah, that is a long journey. So 16 months, that's nearly a year and a half. And you were at it for quite a while before we even met and we even started working together. So where would you roughly approximate you were at score-wise at that point?
If I am to estimate which range I would be at, I would say I wouldn't be above 160, because at the time I just couldn't get a hang of logic games. So just what exactly it is, what exactly the logic is behind it. I was quite lost, so I didn't really get it that agnostic.
Gotcha. Okay, so it was maybe max 160, but you were somewhere.
Yeah, I was max 160.
Somewhere maybe a little bit less, maybe roughly in that range. And then what led you to reach out to me?
I just felt very not in control of what I can do with the LSAT, and especially with how much disparity between my real test scores and my PT scores I was seeing. I just didn't know what to do. And when I was reading your website, I saw you wrote about the exact struggles I was having. Just reading experiences shared by others on the internet, just randomly and suddenly changing my strategy from time to time. And it just wasn't, I just felt like it was going nowhere. And that's what led me to reach out to you for more structured and professional advice.
Well, I'm very glad that you did, of course, and we've had a long journey together since then. It sounds like you had a lot of fluctuations over the course of that year working on your own and trying out different things. I mean, to one day get a 161, one day get above 170, and then drop back down again and not really have any rhyme or reason as to why. That sort of chaos can be really confusing. So I'm certainly, of course, glad that you did reach out and we did get to work together and you joined the course as well and such. So I'm wondering if you could share a bit more about how your prep changed once we started working together and once you joined the course.
I would say the biggest thing is definitely the Socratic review method. I mentioned I was doing PTs after PTs, but at the time I was only looking at the questions I got wrong and I said, oh, okay, I understand it now and I should be fine. But next time I do the same, I get the same questions wrong, or it's just, I didn't realize I was trying to do things over and over again with the same method and expect something to change. And it was not until I got more into Socratic review method that you talk about that I finally got deeper into why I was getting the questions wrong. I was analyzing the answer choices themselves. I was analyzing what trapped me and what are my habits. And I think what was the most important in stabilizing my score range and in increasing the sense of being in control during the actual exam is adjusting my habits. By the time I took my final exam, I got a better understanding of what I should do and what I should avoid doing. And that actually led me to another point that I think is crucial during my LSAT prep journey. That is to practice mindfulness, and it's also what I learned from talking with you. Because I remember when I was taking the exam, I got 161. I got a really just surprisingly hard logic games for the first section, and it just threw me off, and I couldn't focus for the rest of the exam. And but practicing mindfulness helped me recognize when I was in anxiety and when I was in a chaotic mind, and that realization usually will calm me down. And fortunately, I actually encountered the same kind of surprise during the exam that I got 171. I also encountered difficulties during the logic games, but I realized I was anxious. I realized I was kind of losing my mind. And the moment I realized it, I was able to bring myself back into that calm mode. And I think that really, really helped me to get back to gear and then finally get that 171.
Incredible. Yeah, that mindfulness is so important because this is a stressful exam with high stakes. And just the adrenaline going into the real thing, people experience all sorts of things like sweaty palms, the nerves, the heart racing, having to go to the bathroom a lot. And these are these are real things. I mentioned it because it's real. And these are things that, when I get nervous, these things happen to me too. And so in a way, like, you have to prepare to and expect that those symptoms of the nerves are going to happen. The question is, how do you handle them and maintain the calm and focus to check yourself? So I'm glad that you implemented that and you were able to successfully execute it on test day itself when it really ultimately mattered.
It really mattered. It mattered a lot.
Yeah. So I'm wondering also if you could share a bit more about the Socratic review method in terms of how that translated for you on test day in terms of navigating some of those difficult questions.
Yeah, of course. I think the key thing with Socratic review method is to push yourself to be as clear with understanding the specific questions, the logic behind the logic behind it, and the intentions of the test makers. Because initially, when I look at questions, like I said, I would just look at explanations, and if the logic made sense to me, then it's fine. Then I think I understood the question, but I wouldn't exactly look into each answer choice, even though the one I didn't select, and to ask myself, why exactly did I think this is wrong, and why exactly did I think this is right? But the Socratic review method, this sort of exchange with yourself and to always push yourself to understand it as much as possible, helped me understand much better the intentions of the test makers. I started to notice traps in the answer choices more, and I started to notice what kind of wording, what kind of usually used tricks by the test makers could confuse me, and that allowed me to really adjust my habits to be more mindful of those traps.
That's exactly what you need to be able to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Socratic review method also it can be done individually, but it might even work better when you work with a friend. It's kind of, you translate that Socratic review method into sort of a seminar setting, and you ask each other, why exactly do you think this is wrong? And pushing yourself to really verbalize what you think also help clarify understanding.
Yeah, no, that's something that I think is so important, to do it with others, not to do it only alone. Of course, you can do a lot of it alone. You can do so much alone, but to really force yourself to articulate it to someone else and have a dialogue and push back and really force you to clarify your understanding and make sure you've truly got it. And to also make sure if there's something that you don't get fully or that you misinterpret, that you've got that check there. And so we do it in the course all the time. We do it live in class all the time. And I know that you made a friend in the course as well, because not only did we work together one-on-one, but you also showed up to class and took full advantage of all the opportunities. You made a friend there and you guys studied together, right?
Yes, I felt really fortunate to have met Annie. We had a lot in common, not only with LSAT prep, but also with our interest in international affairs and etc. And I felt really fortunate to have the courage to reach out to her, and then we became great friends. And And I want to take this opportunity to say to every student of the LSAT Unplugged community, when you think you want to reach out to somebody, don't hesitate, because that could be a greatly missed opportunity to meet a great friend and a great buddy during the LSAT journey and the admissions journey.
I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, you never know what possibilities could open up if you form that connection. Some things might not lead to anything at all, but you never know. It could lead to something incredible. You could make a lifelong friend because you have this deep shared common interest and you're going through something that's incredibly difficult together. And it's not just about the LSAT. There's the admissions process, and there's also law school and your career goals. I mean, you could, believe it or not, it's entirely possible you both could end up at the same law school in the end.
Yeah, it's very possible. And I also want to say that almost everyone I've met in the LSAT Unplugged community has an interesting story, but at the same time, it's very open when you reach out. So never hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, I'm always encouraging folks in the chats to DM each other. There's someone in class who made a comment that sparked your interest. Reach out. Maybe they could become a study buddy. You can trade numbers, you could trade emails, and connect with them outside of class too. And we have study groups every week, but that's not the only place you can connect. You can connect as you like, and people connect offline and talk all the time. It's fantastic what the community has arisen here. So I'm glad that you took advantage of that too and had that opportunity. So Judy, you've now got this, you finished the LSAT, you got your score increase, you got through 171, and you also got into a top 14 law school as well. So what was that process like for you on the admissions side, and what are you looking forward to next?
The admissions process, I would say, was greatly facilitated by the sense of having a score that gave me confidence, because it really enabled me to see it really enabled me to think about what exactly I was looking for in a school, because now that I have the basis of the score, I have more choices. But I would say another thing that was crucial during the admissions process was to be really honest with my story, and to be really careful in terms of crafting the personal statement, the diversity statement, because the admissions process is not only about scores. It's also about what you have been through, what you want to change in the world, and I think that's crucial. And I think that is what makes an application beyond numbers. And I truly believe schools look at that. I personally believe in that. So the personal statement and the diversity statement and other statement that you see fit in representing your personality and representing your story is really, really helpful. And I would definitely suggest to look for help, either professionally or from a friend, to look over your documents. And all of that hard work finally led me to be accepted at one of my top choices. I'm on the T14, and it is a great feeling to see your hard work paid off.
Absolutely. Well, Judy, I think there's no better place to end it than right there. I'm so grateful to you for sharing your background and sharing your journey as serving as an inspiration to others along this path. And I'm excited that you'll continue helping pre-law students with the LSAT. And so I'm very excited to see what comes next for you, and really appreciate this conversation. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you for all the memories we had.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.